Okay, well, our time in China was not that planned. I started studying computing science in Colombia. I was working in Colombia for a few years, and then after some time I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to look for a challenge, and then I found an internship in China. That was back in 2008. That was the year of the Olympics, so I wanted to come as well to live all this atmosphere of the games. So I came here, I did my internship, and then after a 6 months period, I liked the city, it was in Beijing, I liked the country. So I decided to stay and then to look for an opportunity, and then I found CRM Factory, which is part of the Encom Group. I joined them back in 2009, and then after a few years that I was working there, my brother came to visit, and then he can continue maybe telling the story.
Yeah, so I also was interested in computer science. But to be honest, at that time, after spending all my primary school and high school with my brother, I wanted to take a bit of a distance because it was going to be too much otherwise. So I went to another university to study electronic engineering. It gave me a very good background and understanding on how machines and computers work in a physical level. So that I like, but I always kept my interest in computer science. No? So after a while, as Hernan was mentioning, I came to visit him for vacations. I came along with my parents. I was spending here in Beijing 1 month. It was a very nice time. I loved the country. Hernan was saying, why don't you stay for a short internship? Maybe there are chances
To work.
Yeah. I said, well, just let's have a look. So I went to the internship with for the interview with Mr. Christian Sproul, the general manager in Beijing, and Hernan. And it was a bit weird because in that interview there was the three of us, and it was mainly the two of them talking the most of the time. And I barely say yes or no a couple of times.
You agree? Yes.
Yeah, I said I was agreeing. So they accepted me for the internship, and it was a 6 months internship. After that, I get full on board to the company, and it turned to be 1 month to 6 months, and then to 1 year, and then to 3 years, and then
Then you moved to Shanghai.
Then I moved to Shanghai. Then it's the 7th year.
Then I moved to Shanghai as well.
It's the 7th year that I have been here in this amazing country and this amazing company.
That's right. And if you see, we wanted to talk about this topic in the interview, blockchain, not only because our mutual interest in the technology.
Yeah, Hernan has this weird idea in which we are a sort of a walking blockchain because we share exactly the same DNA information, and that information it's decentralized rather than centralized, so it's in different repositories of information.
Two different nodes.
So shortly, a blockchain is a distributed ledger technology that enables the creation of immutable records and that are shared within the participants of the same business network.
That's right. I mean, like in a tech talk, we can put it like very to the point, right? So there are some features that a blockchain has. So the first one is the transactional ledger. Transactional ledger is distributed, so it means that we don't have a central repository or a central authority that controls everything. It has different nodes, and then every node has the same copy of the ledger, right? And then this is, in a way, to think about it like a distributed database. You have the same database in different places. The second feature is that the transactions are immutable. So every transaction can be counted as a contract, and then once it's created, you cannot change it. Not individual parties can change it, and then no consensus can change it, because this information is encrypted. If there is any amendment to be done, then it has to be done with a new contract or transaction. The third characteristic or feature is that the transactions are encrypted. Because of the very nature of the blockchain, the information is distributed between computers, so a lot of transmissions has to happen. So in order to keep the safety and the information in a secure place, all the data is always encrypted between these transactions. And the last one is that, as any contract, the parties rely on the ledger itself. So the transaction ledger is the single source of information, the single source of truth. Everyone agrees that the information that is in this ledger is the truth for everyone, and then the contract is valid for all the parties. And then this is what makes blockchains like distributed trust system.
I think that one of the main reasons why blockchain is a very hot topic today is because of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Almost everyone have heard about Bitcoin and about the crazy race on its value, mainly the last year, no?
That's right.
So I own some Bitcoin myself. I bought them last year, and after I started to put some money on this, I thought to myself, better to go and check what it is about, what is the technicality behind the Bitcoin, how it's built, and then reading about it, I found that Bitcoin is actually just one single application of a much broader topic, which was blockchain.
The question is, did you buy the top or did you buy the deep?
Yeah, I bought it in the right time, I guess. I am confident with that also.
Okay.
So my main interest was to understand how the middleman could be removed from the transaction, no? And how the disputes could be resolved if there was not a central party that was controlling the transactions.
That is right. For me, it was a little bit different as well. I knew about blockchain a little bit before. One of the topics that caught my attention was the decentralization of trust, right? So we live in globalized times, and then technology industry should rely less in central authorities, and they should rely more in the community itself. The second topic that got me interested was the cryptography and the encryption that is behind this technology. Back in my study times, I studied cryptography and I studied encryption, so I did some academic background in that area. I like it a lot. I like the mathematical point of view of these technologies. And then during my professional career, I did some projects with involving encryption itself, in the sites at least, if not as the core of the project, but in the sites for transmissions or for validation. And then, but I can say that blockchain was the topic that helped me to revisit these topics that I like it so much during my academic times.
Do you have some Bitcoin?
I do have some Bitcoin.
Good. You bought the top?
I bought the deep. Trusted decentralization is the key point here. And to put emphasis on that, we would like to refer to some cases. So if we think of one, is in Sierra Leone, one country in Africa. They create a proof of concept for elections based on a blockchain project. So the implications are huge because they are aiming to reduce the possibilities or the risk of fraud by having one central point where all the votes are collected, and then they were collecting the votes directly into a blockchain technology. So in every single votation point, people were voting, and then these numbers were already, let's say, recorded in the transaction ledger, which is, as we saw, immutable, and then is trusted as a ledger itself.
Actually, there is also something happening down there in Latin America.
Now in our country, in our
part of the world, where there is also disruption happening because of blockchain technology. So there is this project under development in Honduras. The thing is that in that part of the world, in our part of the world, Honduras, Colombia, Latin America in general, it's the fraud in land titling. It's very common to happen, and it's because of these corrupted officers, government officers, together with illegal armed groups, are stealing the land from its rightful owners. And it's very easy for these groups to go and change the record itself. They take the archives, they alter the papers, and that's it. The land is gone to the thieves. So they wanted to record this ownership of the land in the blockchain. And as we have seen already with the conversation, this is immutable, so it would help to avoid this kind of frauds in that side of the world.
And it's decentralized, so you cannot go and change one point. You have to go and change all the nodes, which from the encryption point of view is impossible from the mathematical and computer power point of view. So you cannot change all the nodes in the network.
True. This is really blockchain brought to the very needs of the people around the world in every field.
It's important to make a point here, and is that to state that not all the business cases are meant to be solved with blockchain. Blockchain is a big word, and right now everyone is talking about that, and everyone wants to have something to do with it. There is even a case, right, where companies were changing their name.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember this news last year, in which there were some companies that they wanted to be involved with blockchain, so they were just changing their business name, adding the word blockchain.
It takes a lot more than that. To actually use this technology and to be able to take profit of it, we need to evaluate every single case and every single scenarios. So there are big companies, like for example IBM, that have come with a lot of workshops on this technology, and they have come with some results that help businesses to assess their situation.
So in general, if within the same organization the information is to be shared between
Different parties?
different organizations, and if the history of these transactions needs to be kept, and the transactions needs to be immutable.
That's right.
And if there is the need of having a single source of truth of the information, so then the case is applicable for a blockchain scenario.
That's right. And then for sure, automotive industry will be impacted on this. And then we have seen already companies, and we have also already seen projects or proof of concepts that are trying to achieve solutions for different scenarios on the industry. Yes, we want to talk about two. The first one is about vehicle registration. So think about when you have a new vehicle or when you have to have a transfer of ownership of a used vehicle. So this process is very time consuming. Usually it takes the buyer or the dealer in behalf of the buyer to go to the offices, public offices, to fill forms, to fill online forms. It takes the authorities to also validate this process, that the documents are legal, that the documents are real, and then all this is very time consuming because there is no a single part of, because we don't have a central point that can control everything. The vehicle can be a stolen vehicle, so you need to go to the police station, and then the vehicle can be in a very damaged position, so you need the insurance also to check the value of the vehicle. So there is many topics. A blockchain could be used in this situation to streamline this process and to make it visible and transparent for all the parties involved in the registration process. So it will add contracts for this registration where everyone will trust the ledger in these scenarios. It will make the process more efficient.
And trustable. I think that there is also another good business case for it, which is the spare parts with vehicles. So many OEMs are worried because in some markets their workshops might be using counterfeit spare parts for their customers' vehicle reparation. So this, of course, it puts jeopardize the whole manufacturer business, and it when the pieces underperform, or even worse, when they are causing accidents.
That is right. You can imagine of a blockchain project where you have you use smart devices, you use IoT that track the full history of these spare parts. So that allows the service centers, allows the OEMs, allows the car buyers or the actual customer to track back the origin of these spare parts, reducing this way the possibility of fraud or the possibility of counterfeit parts in their vehicles. The warranty claim process is for insurance is a big scenario where they cannot assess if a situation or if a claim was caused because of the counterfeit part or because of a real part, right? So this will also allow them to clean and to have a transparency in the claim process. You have multiple parties. That's one of the questions that IBM asked us to evaluate. And then also because we have a single point of source of truth, which is the ledger itself. We know if a part is real, legal, or is fake based on the process and the blockchain itself, right?
Yeah. I am very looking forward for what this technology could bring to us. There are some people that says that its disruption could be as big as that one of the internet. And if so, surely all of us are going to be involved and working with it. So I really hope that I'm going to be working with my brother in these blockchain projects in the future.
That's right. I mean, we see the possibilities are a lot, right? We have seen that blockchain has proven to be working in nature because we have twins, right? And then we are sure there is also blockchain a possibility for the business life in not only automotive industry but also in other industries to be a success.